Okay, so we've gone through the yellow buttons, we've gone through pairing, we're ready to do some quick quilting. Let's get started with this already. So here we are. We want to do pattern quilting. That's what traditionally what we've done in the QBOT. So we're going to quilt a pattern. By pressing that button, you bring up the screen where you choose your quilting area. This is completely different and might be a foreign concept to version 2 users for lots of reasons. One is we can see what we're actually doing, and which is the great thing. Two, we can choose as many points as we want in any order that we want. We don't have to go upper right, lower left, upper left, or upper right, lower left. Sorry, upper right, lower right, upper left, lower left. I've been using V3 so long now in the testing that I've forgotten how to do it in V2. We also have something that is kind of handy. You notice that in QBOT V2, you would just see coordinates on the screen, and that was referenced to when you turned on the QBOT and powered it up. And some of you may have turned off QBOT and then turned it back on just to zero that out. Well, here's a grid 0 button right there that zeroes out everything with the touch of a button. So if I want to move the carriage anywhere to start my block, say I'm doing something where it matters and I need to know the precise area that I'm choosing, I'm doing maybe a whole cloth quilt or something, I just hit that grid 0 button and that's my 0, 0, and I can start setting points. So what I'm going to do is let's quilt out something so you can see some of the features when we're actually quilting out and see how the tablet behaves, okay? So I'm going to set that point as my first point. And you notice that that done button is grayed out. And it's grayed out because one set point doesn't make an area for quilting. Neither does 2, but 3 do. So you need to choose 3 or more points. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to choose, well, I'm going to choose a bunch of points to define my area. Okay, I've chosen a bunch of points to define my area, and now I say done. And that's what my area on my quilt looks like. And I need to put a design in there. So it says at the top upper left, choose design. And I can choose from my blocks, my borders, phrases, the fast tracks, anywhere. So I'm going to click on blocks. I'm going to look at the designs that I've got in my blocks. And you see the ones that came with version 1 and version 2, and we've added some nice flakes from Drake's Flakes. And for the associated ornaments that go with those, drakesflakes.com is a nice website to visit. And let's put in, let me put in this set ornate block right here. So I put my finger on it and drag it over to the area and let go. Now, it basically sizes it to the general size of the area that you've chosen. But what's really nice about this, and some folks might say, well, it goes outside the boundary. That's exactly right. We don't have to worry about it being inside the boundary now. With version 2, when we had a 2-line display and we had no idea where it was really going to go, we had to guarantee that it was within the boundary. One of the great features of version 3 is that since we now see the boundary, we can choose how things get put in that boundary. We can move it all around. And the reason, or the way we do that, is we can click Modify. And there you see the Modify routine shows up on the left-hand side. Now, depending on the size of your tablet, you may have to scroll up and down. You can just put your finger anywhere in that field and you can scroll that area up and down. All that you need to know really is that at the bottom of the menu there is a done button. If you don't see the done button, then you need to scroll to see that, because that's what you need to press to move on. Another thing that we have in the lower right, we show the quilting area, which is the area of the of what you've chosen. Now it gives the equivalent rectangular area here. We don't get real specific, so if you're doing 4 points, it'll be the more correct than this. It also, for designs that have copyrights, there's a copyright symbol. You can press that symbol and see that that's copyright Lighten Up Technologies 2014 www.myqbot.com. If you like something from a particular designer and you see that button, press that little copyright and it should take you or show you where that design came from and the website where you can get it. To click off of that, you can click the back arrow or just click anywhere on the screen. Some devices you have to click the back arrow at the bottom. Some devices you can just tap the screen and that image goes away. So I just tap the screen there. Here I will hit the back arrow and it does the same thing. Well, we need to modify it. Well, this is an interesting thing because it's very, very intuitive, and you have to remember it's easy as 1, 2, 3. One finger gesturing moves the design around. 2 finger gesturing, like your thumb and forefinger, scales it and pinches it. You can pinch and expand and move it that way. 3 fingers, a thumb, forefinger, and middle finger, and you can rotate. And you can rotate, you can have your fingers anywhere on that left hand or on the right hand screen where the grid is. You can have your fingers anywhere and make those rotations. And then you can do some more gesturing. You can see and rotate and say I'm looking at that point down at there, that little pyramid point, and I want to make sure it's like that. Now, what if I want to zoom in and say I wanted something to touch? I wanted to touch that point. Maybe there was something in there and I had to have that particular curve touch that particular point. Well, I could zoom in by pressing my pan and zoom button on the left. And then when I use gesturing, 1 finger moves the display, 2 fingers zoom. And I can zoom in. I then tap off the magnifier, and now 1 finger moves the pattern, and I can make that just touch. I also have arrows on the left. I can nudge it 1 little bit at a time. Left to right, side to side, just like that. To get it back down to 0 or to the original magnification so you can see everything, just double tap in the right hand window. Just double tap quickly. Double tap and there it is. So you can move things very precisely now in V3. This would have been unheard of in V2, version 2. So now as I'm moving this, you may notice that I'm going to move it up there, and you see the upper edge of the design. Now when I move it again, you see how it's cut off? But then when I let go of it, it reappears. And the time it takes to reappear is that modify page render delay. So that is the delay. So when you go like this and you move it and then bring it back, and the delay it takes to redraw that is what that is. So that's what that little parameter meant, or that little setting meant. So that's the basics of gesturing. 1 finger moves it, 2 fingers stretches it, scales it, 3 fingers rotate it. Now, for more precise control, we have buttons, the rotation buttons. Negative arrow, 1 degree at a time, clockwise, counterclockwise. We have the arrows, which nudge, like I've shown before, which is nice. And then we have something in these yellow fields. If I tap 12 degrees, I can type in a precise scale. I want it at 75%. For maybe you want it at 75%. Who knows? Precise movement. So 0.7. I want that at 0.75. I'll tell you, in my practice, I very rarely directly input into the yellow fields. Maybe on the scales every now and then, maybe on rotation, very rarely in the position, but this is up to user preference. They're there for people to use them. If you need to undo steps, say you get it so crazy that you're at your wit's end, you've just messed with it to death, and you want to get it back to normal. You just say original in the upper left. Hit the original button and it comes in just as it came in originally. So I'm going to scale this, I'm going to do a little rotation, and I'm just going to move it into the open area. Very nicely placed. And now we're ready to press done. So we press done. And then the next step is going to be move to start.